Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today we're going to do a special kind of tuning and polishing of the phosphor bronze washers of this new Spartan Harsey in Magna Cut. And then kind of polish up those washers to see if we can get a little more drop shut action, and then see if the detent is a little tight and see if we can tune that a little bit too. I like to do that with all my phosphor bronze washer knives, and let's see how that goes. Also kind of want to see what everything looks like, and it's a little off center, so we might try to do a little bit of centering as well. I don't know if maybe swapping out the phosphor bronze washer side might change that, so we will take a look. So let's first figure out, what are the screws? Are these T8s? They're T8s there. Okay, and so is this a T15 or a T10? Definitely not a T10. So here's the T15. Yeah, it's a T15. So T15 there. I believe this is a T8 as well. Yep, T8s. Okay, so good. Just make sure they're not hex screws. There are Torx. Yeah, because on like my hinderer, I have some different tools for that, right? So, just got to keep an eye out for that. Just make sure that's the case. All right, so let's start off with taking some of these other screws off. I have this, some oil, some pry tools in case I need it, and be gentle with it. So let's start off with the clip, and here we go. All right, so I need another T15 because it's I have to use this one. It is not a captive pivot, so let's do that. Some thick washers for sure. Look at those. Oh, and we got a small one on this side. All right, so small one next to there, thick one next to there. Remember that, okay? Very good. And we're going to take the pivot out. Clean off the excess oil and stuff. Very basic design, but done well. Cleaning off the oil off of here. It looks like it does have a little bit of oil or something. Grease, maybe? I don't know. I know Chris Reeve, they use some sort of grease on theirs. So what I do here is just kind of you can see I'm polishing these up, taking a little bit of surface area off, which is going to give a little bit of room in there, but I don't want to do too much, right? I want to make sure it's consistent. Now do a little quarter turn, polish that, do a little quarter turn. These are big phosphor bronze washers. These are not like Spyderco and Benchmade. Benchmade's been getting some pretty thick washers on there. Spyderco typically does some thinner ones, but they're not as big as Spartan. Man, these guys are definitely got some substance to them. I mean, you could probably run some serious electricity through them, because it feels like they're more like brass or something, but they're phosphor bronze, so very cool. Just want to make sure they're nice and evenly polished. Gotta take your time, so I'll fast forward through this. All right, that one's done. All right, so let's take a look at that. Definitely much more polished than it was before. And I always like to look at the blade. There's probably not any spurs on here, but sometimes I do that just to make sure it's a little polished as well. There's nothing on there that could potentially slow it down, right? Looks like it's pretty good shape as it is. And there's the little detent ball track. That's cool. Nice, nice. All right. So it's pretty solid in there. I don't want to move that too much, but that's all I'm going to do. I don't want to do anymore. I don't even know if that moved it. We'll do the phosphor bronze first. Make sure I don't want to mess with the carbidized tang there, or the frame, the lock bar. It's going to engage on the tang of the blade. All right, I'm back. It looks like the battery died, and we were at last adjusting this, which I did, and I checked the level to see how much it is, and it definitely went down just a little bit. I want to do a whole bunch, and then I started wiping off the different blades here, starting to clean them off, ready for reassemble. So I want to make sure any of that polished stuff is off, right? And especially in the pivot hole, anything like that. So we're going to clean all that off. I don't want any stuff that's going to interfere with any of that, right? So, and then make sure all these guys are nice and clean. Move this out of the way. Here's the pivot. So this pivot will go over here like this, which acts as an over travel stop. Yep. And then on this side, we're going to use a small washer because we don't want to hit the over travel stop. So I'm just going to clean this off, make sure there's no material on there on the outside and in between. So we'll just clean all that. Put this back on. Now, I will use a little bit of oil. This is where I use very, very, very little, especially on a phosphor bronze. I don't want to use a bunch. Okay, just stop. I think 3 drops is more than enough. So then I will put, oh, that's the detent side. Is that the side that I did? This was made in December 2023. Pretty new knife. Very cool. Yeah, so we'll do that. What I'll do then is I'll also put some detent, Nano Oil 85, a little bit drop on the detent ball. And then we're going to put a little drop on the detent ball over here. We're going to follow the track. So then I'm going to put this right here. This is the blade stop pin. Okay, and we're going to put, not now 85, we'll do regular, but just a small drop over here, here, and here. I'm going to take my phosphor bronze washer that I cleaned up really well. Look at which side is better. So then we have our standoffs. Let's see how this goes. Make sure I have my big screw. I'm not going to put any Loctite on just yet because I don't know if I have to disassemble it again. So we don't go crazy tight just yet. It's pretty darn close. Let's see if we're centered. Oh, cut that box open earlier. Got a little glue on the tip. I wonder why it was all weird. Yeah, it looks centered. That's not bad. Let's do it again. I'm going to put the clip back on. And so, tip up that way. The clip's going to go this way. I'll put some Loctite on there and lock it in place. That wasn't too bad. All right, that's not bad. I can always come back to this, but you can get it to drop like a spider coat, right? And I think at some point it's going to be nice once I just get that Loctite in place. So let me get my Loctite. I got to let it sit overnight. And go ahead and close this up so I don't spill any good oil. By the way, nano oil is my favorite. I've had better success personally. Could be could be all in the head, but I tend to like nano oil better. But that's just me. All right. Yeah, it's centered. I don't know why it feels like it's not, but it's centered. All right, we're gonna let that sit. And hope the Loctite takes. And we're all set for tomorrow, right? And then that's all I gotta do. So, get rid of all my stuff here. So what I did, just to recap, we took it apart. I cleaned everything off. I polished my phosphor bronze washers on here to take any grit off, make sure it's kind of a nice polished finish. There was a little washer and a big washer. And then we kind of did the blade, just to make sure there weren't any burrs. I did a little bit on the scales because, they touch there as well. Then I reassembled it. I only used Loctite on the pivot screw after I reassembled it and figured I have a good solid position. I believe it's centered. It sure looks centered to me. Yeah. I think what's throwing me off is this cutout is over here. Just realized that. Oh, that's on the inside. That's stinking cool. Anyways, and so now the action is it will drop shut. I think after that Loctite sets, I can get that a little bit better without having any pivot play, any blade rock. I go a little bit lighter, I get blade rock, right? And I don't want to do that. Now, the other option is if this doesn't take and work well, I'll take it apart, I'll polish the phosphor bronze washers a little bit more again. And once you do that, then it should take enough off to give enough room for it to move in and out nicely. The reason why you get blade play is because the washers, I don't know if I can best describe this, at least in my mind. So here's the blade and here are the washers, right? There's also like screws over here that allow the scales to come so close, right? So the scales are going to be pushing the washers in, which push pressure this way. This limits how far in you go. If you make the washers are wide enough, when it's pulling, this is pulling together, the other screw is pulling together. this is causing compression right here. If you have a little bit of room, then there's just the slightest room there where the blade can move a little more clearly, but it's locked in tight. You do it too much, then you start having blade play, right? Because the washers are worn. So you gotta be careful you don't just go crazy in the beginning. So I'm trying to get that fine detail, and that's why when people break in their knives, you know, they flip them for a while and then they break in, especially if their pivot is in place, stays in place. And that has a lot to do with just the wear of the phosphor bronze washers. So I'm trying to mimic that portion a little more quickly than having to, you know, flip it for a year or half a year. I can already front flip it. At some point I'm going to attempt to see if I can do a middle finger flick. Yeah, not quite yet. But I can easily thumb flick it. And it does close, see? Now if I don't put my hand on the lock bar, it's a little bit better. Yeah. Feels like it's almost getting tighter. I don't know if that's just... So we're going to let that sit. Just know I can flip it, both left-handed and reverse flick. And we can do the, see if I can get that right. And front flip. Very cool. Felt like I could maybe get it there. Pretty excited about that. That's in there solid. Well, we can always come back to it. It's a good first step. Way better than what it was. Closer to eventually getting that drop shut, like I did with the Umans on. But I have better access to the lock bar on this thing, and the lock bar is way more comfortable on this knife. There's actually a little cutout right here, which is really nice. Worst case scenario, I could always mill that out just a little bit more if I had to with a Dremel. But that's a big commitment, and you want to be careful when you do that on a knife like this, because if you ever resell it, it could lose value unless you do a really good job. It could increase the value. Yeah, nice blade. So there we go. Yeah, very cool. So if you want to take a look here, this is the Spartan Harsey. And what we did, let me get stuff off the screen there. We polished the washers, we tuned the detent just ever so slightly. Might do a little bit more, but I never want to do too much. You can almost see, let's do that again. You can almost see that right there, how polished they are. So, very cool. All right, so that was fun. Hey, if you found this content fun, interesting, or worthwhile, would you please consider hitting the like button down below? And if you've already hit that like button, would you please consider hitting the subscribe button? Subscribing and liking the videos really helps out the channel, allows the channel grow, produce more content, do more things, ultimately do more things for you guys. So thank you. Thank you so much, especially to you guys who watch, who subscribe, who like. Man, I really appreciate you. Thank you. And if you haven't already, maybe hit that notification button down below so you can be notified of future content. And a big thank you to my channel members. Just thank you. Big thank you. I don't know what else to say. You guys are amazing. Some of you guys have been here since the beginning, and I just want to say thank you for that. Thank you for that encouragement and support. Helps the channel, really allows me to do a lot of things to continue to grow. At times it spurs me on to continue when I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep doing the channel. So thank you for you guys. I really do appreciate you. If you've been on the fence, you thought, hey, I'd like to become a channel member, I'd love to have you. I'd be honored. Really would. There's a link down in the description. 3 different tiers, basic to medium to high. Would love to have you. It'd be an honor. But don't feel like you have to be a channel member to watch the video. I mean, if you want to just watch the content and enjoy it, by all means, please do. But to all my channel members who do become channel members, I just want to say thank you and let you know that if you haven't already asked me, and you've been a channel member for a while, or if you just became a new channel member, email me with your name and address. I'll send you a sticker. If you haven't gotten a sticker already, I want to send you a sticker. And then also, we do a once-a-month giveaway for all channel members. Just want to let you know that. Love to see you there for that. And then finally, if you haven't already, check me out on Instagram at robs_nerdy_knives. Thanks so much for watching today. Have a great day and a great week. Bye.